All right, let's get into this. We've got all this great info, research you shared about the new Avengers, Doomsday movie. And specifically, Chris Hemsworth coming back as Thor. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, but the real hook this time, isn't it, is that the transformation. It's different. His trainer, Luke Saki, a longtime trainer, he's saying it's simpler, smarter, and still godlike, which is intriguing.
Exactly. Simpler and smarter. That's what caught my eye. So for this deep dive, we're really going to unpack that, right? Using what Zaki's been saying, figure out this new sustainable approach.
Absolutely. It's not just another, get huge quick story. We want to understand why this is maybe a new blueprint for superhero fitness. And honestly, maybe his most relatable transformation yet for you listening.
Yeah, relatable and Thor don't always go together in the same sentence, especially after some of his past regimes. So how do you train like a god but sustainably, functionally? That's the puzzle we're tackling.
It really is. Because we remember the stories from Thor. Love and Thunder, right? Just absolutely grueling stuff.
Totally. Soul-crushing was the term used, I think.
Yeah. So this shift, Zachi calls it the smarter, not harder philosophy. That's the core of it.
Okay, smarter, not harder. What does that actually mean in practice? Is it just less work?
Not necessarily less work, but maybe better work, more focused. Zaki actually said, we're just a bit more in tune with our bodies now. We're not killing ourselves anymore. Hey, great. And that's a pretty big statement, Thinking about elite fitness, celebrity transformations, often it is about killing yourself.
Right. Pushing to the absolute limit.
Exactly. So this is about longevity. It's focusing on how he trains purpose-driven lifting, sustainable cardio, and crucially, targeting what you actually see in the costume. The arms, the shoulders. That's the focus.
That makes a lot of sense. And honestly, it feels a bit more grounded. Like maybe you don't have to completely destroy yourself to look like a superhero. It moves away from that impossible standard. Maybe makes it feel a bit more balanced.
Yeah, less about breaking yourself, more about smart, targeted effort. It resonates.
Okay, so the training is smarter. What about the diet? Because the stories about him eating like 10 meals a day were legendary.
Oh, totally. Forget that this time. It's a whole new nutritional game plan for Doomsday.
So no more force feeding.
Nope, that bulk mode is out. Now it's 4 or 5 well-balanced meals a day. The goal is fueling the workouts, maintaining muscle, but without that awful bloated feeling, the discomfort. Zaki literally said, we're not ramming food down his throat, but he still looks great.
I love that quote.
It's a shift to balance mode, which mentally is probably huge too, moving away from just constant eating to thinking about, nutrient density, intentional fueling.
Balance mode. I like it. Sounds way more manageable, frankly. So how does this smarter, balanced approach fit into a weekly schedule? Zaki mentioned a 1 day on, 1 day off structure.
Yeah, pretty much. It's about building a recovery right from the start. So the basic structure they used, based on the info, is a push-pull-leg split.
Yeah.
Day 1, push day. That's chest, shoulders, triceps. Then day 2 is cardio.
Got it.
Day 3 is pull, so back and biceps. Day 4, another cardio day.
Right. Alternating.
Exactly. Day 5 is legs and glutes. Day 6, more cardio. And then day 7 is sort of flexible, repeat, or adjust based on how he's feeling, energy levels, all that.
So recovery is literally built into the week. Every other day is focused on something less intense than heavy lifting.
Precisely. It's designed to maximize the output when he is training hard, but minimize that risk of burnout, which, super common when people train that intensely. They forget recovery. This plan puts it front and center, all while still looking,
Like a god, very much.
Okay, and the cardio itself, you mentioned cardio days. Is he just pounding the pavement for hours? Because that sounds tedious.
No, definitely not. And that's key, right? If it's boring, you won't do it.
True.
The sources show it's a real mix, keeps things engaging, like boxing drills.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, and Zaki's got a boxing background, so that makes sense. He brings that expertise. They also do these 10-minute cardio circuits, quick bursts, using different machines, treadmill, Stairmaster, Skier, rower. Just rotate through them.
Keeps it fresh.
Yeah. And then there's the really fun stuff, Tabata on a fan bike.
Oh, Tabata. That's intense.
20 seconds, absolutely flat out, then 10 seconds rest.
Yeah.
Repeat that 8 times.
Oh.
Brutal.
Wow.
And the best part, even Hemsworth admitted after doing it, it's horrible.
Okay, that makes me feel slightly better about my own cardio struggles. Even Thor hates it sometimes.
Right. It just shows, even when you're training smarter, it still takes serious effort.
Yeah.
No shortcuts to God mode.
Okay, so let's get specific. The arms and shoulders are key for the Thor look. What does an actual push day workout look like under this new philosophy? You said it's sculpted for impact?
Yeah, exactly. This is where you see that intentional hypertrophy, building muscle, very specifically for the visual, for what you see on screen. So a typical push day starts with a warm-up, light dumbbells, 3 rounds, lateral raise, front raise, military press, 8 reps each, then a minute rest.
Okay, standard warm-up stuff.
Pretty standard. Then the main lifts, seated dumbbell shoulder press is a big one. 4 sets, aiming for 8 to 12 reps. And on the last set, they do a drop set. So finish the set, immediately reduce the weight, go to failure, reduce again, failure. Maybe one more time, really burns it out.
Oh, okay, that's serious intensity.
Yeah. Then maybe incline dumbbell bench press, 3 sets of 12. Single arm cable lateral, raises 4 sets each side, 12 reps. Good for isolating the shoulder cap.
All right, I getting that definition.
Mm-hmm. And cable rear delt flies for the back of the shoulder, 3 sets of 15. And again, a drop set on that last set to failure.
Lots of drop sets.
Seems like a key tool for them. And then finishing off with triceps, something like a straight bar triceps push down, 3 sets of 12.
So it's focused, quite high volume with those drop sets, really targeting those costume muscles.
Exactly. No wasted effort. It's all about functional hypertrophy for the look and the strength needed. No fluff, as you said.
Which makes sense. You want maximum visual impact. Okay, so putting it all together, the smarter training, the balanced diet, the targeted workouts, why is this being called his best yet transformation? He might not be the absolute biggest he's ever been, like in Love and Thunder, maybe.
Maybe not peak mass, but the sources suggest he looks more athletic this time, more functional, more believable, maybe.
Believable, how so?
Well, it ties back to that sustainability. The focus is on smarter recovery, the targeted muscle growth, yes, but also mental wellness.
Yeah.
And real-life function. Like Zaki mentioned, he can surf again, which implies maybe the previous bulk made him less agile, less able to do the things he enjoys.
Ah, okay. So it's not just about looking the part, but feeling good and being able to move well, too.
Exactly. It suggests this whole Avengers. Doomsday prep wasn't about just smashing through limits at any cost. It was about respecting limits, building strength that lasts, strength that works in real life.
That's actually a really healthy perspective, especially for that level of performance.
Yeah, it's grounded in performance and longevity. It could genuinely set a new standard, redefining godlike away from just sheer size to something more dynamic, more sustainable.
Wow. Okay, so the big takeaway from this deep dive really is that fundamental shift, isn't it? Moving away from that at all costs, break yourself mentality towards something functional, sustainable, even for, well, a god.
Precisely. Which kind of leaves us with a thought, doesn't it, for you listening? If Thor is prioritizing sustainable training and mental well-being and being able to, actually function in real life over just getting maximally huge, what does that suggest for your own fitness goals?
Good question.
Maybe the real superpower isn't about constantly crushing your limits, but maybe respecting them, learning to work with them.
So you don't have to train like a beast.
Maybe not. But maybe you can train like this new Thor. Smart, balanced, functional. Something to think about.